this X3 back in. Customer put a different turbo on it, a little smaller turbo. I believe this is like a 48mm turbo or something. But the previous turbo on here, the bigger turbo, I believe was a 50 or a 52. We made about 220 horse on 91 with it. She was a little laggy. Customer wanted to have a little bit better response, especially up at this altitude, and that turbo was on its way out, and smoking and having some issues and stuff like that. So I believe this is still stock bottom end with head studs, Packard Performance intake, intercooler, exhaust, and had them add a catch can on here. And let's see, we're still on 91 octane. This is on an M-Tron ECU, ECU company out of Australia. So we're going to roller and see if we can get all that sorted out for him. So I'm not sure if I got that run, first run. Just wanted to see where it was with this new turbo. With 50% on the boost control solenoid, that kind of set up for the previous big turbo. Just wanted to do a quick little run. It made barely 7.5 pounds of boost. So checking this here, you can kind of see this blue trace right here is the boost. And with a turbo this small, this thing should almost come on, I mean, not instantly, but very quickly. And it is lagging so much right here, just to barely creep over 7.5 pounds. So that's telling me that there's something either with a boost leak or there's something with the wastegate. With how steady this line is, I'm thinking that there's something with the wastegate. I'm thinking that most likely the preload on the internal wastegate actuator isn't set, and in fact is probably loose where the wastegate's actually hung partially open right now. So I'm gonna go check that out. Alright, it's kind of hard to see in there, but I can pretty much just wiggle that wastegate arm back and forth. There's zero preload on this wastegate. What I'm gonna do is pop this off, I'm gonna hook up some air and preload this a few turns. I think I ended up putting about 4 or 5 full turns on this. Took 2 turns just to get it to seat the gate. It was actually far enough out that it was hanging the gate open just a little bit. So we're gonna try that, see where that is. Alright, we'll just snug that down until we check it out. And now let's do a pull and see what she looks like. May need a couple more turns. That run right there was about 6 pounds. Nothing on the boost controller at about 6 pounds. So we're going to put probably 3 more turns. And then do another baseline run on 0 and see if we can get her up above 8, 9, maybe 10 or 11 pounds. And then we can start reintroducing the boost controller. So that gave us about 9 pounds. I think we're just gonna leave it there and start working on the boost control in the software. And then if we want to make some changes in the future, we can make some changes and just kind of desensitize some of the closed loop boost control. And we should be all right. So on about 25 pounds with that new turbo, made about 208 right there. This other line up here is what it made with a few more pounds on the previous turbo. Maybe in the future, if he wants to go to E85, or if he wants to build the motor or something like that, then we can turn it up some more. But I think that is where we're going to leave it right now and see what he thinks. Got this pretty badass Terminator Cobra in today. We get a Whipple on here. I believe this is a 5.0 motor. Not Coyote, but a 5.0 stroker, I think aluminator. On MS3 plug and play. I had some vacuum leaks in the past and some grounding issues, some erratic readings. So customer took it back, did some work on it, brought it back. One of the things noticed plugging into it was that the tune was completely different from what was on there when it left. And normally when you plug into these, they'll come up with like a difference report. Now I do have the previous one that I finished, sent, or set in there. Another thing is I'm gonna have to go through and check the vacuum lines because no vacuum. So got some work to do with that. This kind of erratic map sensor reading is a little concerning. I'm thinking they may still have an issue with the wiring, possibly with the sensor ground or something like that, that is backfeeding into the internal map sensor circuit. Here the pump's running right now. Ideally I like to have the pumps on the ECU's pump output so we can actually have them just timed to prime, so they're not on for all eternity and not just pulling power, especially while we're trying to check things like sensors and stuff like that. So I'm gonna dive into it and see what we can figure out. We have the map sensor vacuum hose coming up to this T, and that T1 is running, I can't tell exactly where. Here it's going back into the body. Over here it is actually going up to the fuel pressure. I believe this is a fuel pressure differential sensor. Scoping back here, we got the cap actually for this goes into manifold, and that is capped, and it appears that that was the line that they should have had hooked up there. So they might have found a vacuum leak and thought that it was this entire system, disconnected it. So no bueno. Okay, so we do have quite a bit of problems here with the vacuum lines. One of the things that people sometimes overlook when it comes to superchargers is between the throttle body and rotor pack. So throttle body and the rotor pack, this is going to be vacuum. It's not going to see any boost at all. So running things like boost reference regulators, which are being tied in right back there, that little line right there is running over to the regulator, it'll only see vacuum. It will not rise with boost. Alright, so we got a little T there coming off the vacuum, or off the manifold, going to the regulator and over to the ECU, which is in the driver or in the passenger kick panel. Going to the map sensor, let us see. All right. Hey, look at that. Got some vacuum now. All right. a little better. I want to double check that TPS too. Doesn't seem to be going to 100%. Make sure it physically opens. I could be dropping some boost. But we're in the right direction now. Alright, so found the problem of why we're not getting wide open throttle here. We got a little clamp at the sides. It wants to make some interaction with the throttle. So we're going to get that loosened up, moved over, and then hopefully we got 100% again. Alright, got that moved over here. Oh yeah. A lot more play there, or a lot more clearance there. And 97%. 30% more. So I think we're good. Alright.